Welcome guys! Hitting moving targets with the bolt-action sniper rifle is incredibly hard, especially on longer ranges. So I thought I would dive into this subject and see if I could create a simple guide to this difficult task. My journey took me through a bunch of tests and calculations until I finally discovered the secret. Previously I did a guide on hitting moving targets, and here I created the 1-to-100 rule, where for every 100 meters of distance to your target, you needed to aim one player model ahead. But since bullets now move slower the longer they travel, a static rule like this is no longer possible. So I figured, what if we could use the dots on the 8x reticle to aim with when hitting moving targets? What if you could have something like this, where the distance between the dots would mark the aim points for the different distances to your moving target? Well, just you wait and see, because it gets even better than this. To figure this out, I needed to do a bunch of tests and calculations. First, I measured the time it takes for the bullet to hit its target on various distances. As the bullet velocity changes over distance, I had to perform this for 100 to 500 meters, and I did this with a 100 meter increment. Then I calculated how far a running player can move in that same time. Since a running player moves approximately 6 meters per second, all I needed to do here was to take that number and divide it by the bullet travel time, which then gave me the distance in meters that a running target can move perpendicular to the shooter at the various distances. As a player model is approximately 0.6 meters wide, we would be required to aim 1.5 player models ahead of our target at 100 meters and 8 player models ahead when hitting a moving target at 500 meters with the Kar98k. This is not that practical to use, so I started experimenting with the 8x scope to see how many dots ahead of your target you would need to shoot to get that hit. First, I needed to know the distance between each dot at the various distances, and for that I needed a fixed measurement to use for those calculations. The tiles you see here are squares of 5 meters. I parked a dacha over the tiles and calculated the length of the vehicle using pixel measurement. The dacha was measured to a length of 4.4089 meters, which was very close to the real length of a dacha 1300 of 4.3480 meters. I then parked the dacha and gauged the vehicle at the various distances with the 8x scope, which then allowed me to measure the distance between each dot of the 8x reticle. Knowing the distance between each dot and the distance a player moves in the time it takes the shot to reach a specific distance, I could simply divide those numbers for each distance, which would then give me the amount of dots to lead your target to hit him. But then I noticed something weird. The numbers were extremely close to each other, which would mean in practice that you should be able to aim at pretty much the exact same spot on the 8x reticle to hit a moving target on all the calculated distances. Could it really be that knowing a single spot on the reticle would give you the ability to perfectly lead your shots on up to 500 meters? I went to test this with the help of some of my awesome supporters, and it turned out to be working. These are the actual tests I performed based on the calculations. As you can see, the spots are different for the Kar98k and the M24, which makes sense since the bullet velocity of those two weapons are different, but the difference is quite small. Remember that since the player hitbox has an approximate width of 0.6 meters, you don't need to hit pin accurate, but rather within a small window. Hitting the head would naturally require more accuracy, but simply hitting your target on long distances should be considered a success by its own. Most snipers, DMRs, LMGs and assault rifles would have their spot around the same area. I haven't done the calculations for those, but shoot around the same area and you're probably going to be fine. Knowing how far to lead ahead gives us the x-axis information, but we also need to know how high we need to shoot, as you would need to aim above your target at the various distances unless you zero your weapon. I did these tests too, and here are the resulting aim points that you would need to use to hit your target at the various distances while your target is running. So now you know the secret to hitting and moving targets with a bolt-action sniper rifle. That's all I had for you guys in this video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, subscribe to the channel to stay updated on future content. You can also support me financially on patreon.com if you want to make sure that I keep making content like this, and I'll see you guys next time.